That was interesting. Now we have come to another interesting panel discussion of the day. This time we are focusing on the energy sector for the PSU domain, and this panel is all about building sustainable and resilient energy PSUs by leveraging demand with rapid expansion and digital innovations. And for that, we have eminent speakers with us from various energy PSUs of the country. May I invite Mr. MP Singh, Director, Punjab Energy Development ANC. A huge round of applause for him. We welcome you, sir. We have with us Mr. Yogesh Kumar, Director, Commercial, Madhyanchal Vidyut Vitran Nigam, Uttar Pradesh. We welcome Mr. Kumar. We have with us Rajvinder Singh Rewal, Chief Engineer IT, Punjab State Power Corporation Limited, PSPCL. We welcome you, sir. We have with us industry leaders such as Tanuj Mittal, Senior Director, Customer Process Experience, Dassault Systems India. We welcome Mr. Tanuj. We have with us Muktesh Narula, Chief Marketing Officer, Pinnacle Teleservices Private Limited as well. So this panel will be like a mix of leaders from the public sector as well as industry. We'll try to understand how to build a sustainable and resilient energy PSU, and as well as focusing on digital innovation. So I think Mr. Yogesh has an urgent board meeting, so I'll start with him without taking much time. Mr. Yogesh, let me ask you that your organization, Madhyanchal Vidyut Vitran Nigam, it's a DISCOM. What kind of technological or digital innovation you're leveraging? And what is your expectation out of the industry as well, or the IT solution providers as well? I'm taking these two questions from you because I know you have to leave. That's why I'm taking.
Actually, in Madhyanchal, we have taken leverage of the technologies by virtue that in earlier days, before you can say 10 years back, we are giving the paper bills to the consumers, and we are also taking the reading by manual readings. But presently, we are taking the reading through the probe, and we are generating bill with automated basis. That means consumers getting the bill, correct bill, and timely bill. This is possible only because of the using of the technology. Technology means we have having the mobile basic from the starting of the reading. We have reading from the meter through probe or AMR or OCR, all three technologies. And very few readings are taken manually punch in the mobile application. So the readings are perfect. When readings are perfect, then consumer is getting the bill by perfection. And consumer getting the bill, timely bill also. And secondly, we have done the all mode of payments, which may be UPI to Paytm or other debit card, credit card, CSC, and other every type of mode of payment we have integrated with our system. So consumer can pay from anywhere, even our counters or anywhere from their mobile application or the public utility like CSC services or any other using any other platform. So these are the changes we have done in our billing system and consumer interaction system for payment purposes. So you can find that by taking the latest technologies, we have decreased the losses and increased the revenue, decreased the agency losses also. Secondly, we have the correct data of the consumer reading, feeder data reading. That reading is analyzed for multiple type of purposes. That means for distribution losses also. Distribution losses, demand management, and other multiple purposes. So you can see that by using the multiple type of technologies, and we are improving the power distribution system to the consumer. Means the consumer getting, when we go through the supply side, then also we find that we are giving the better supply to the consumer through the uh, peak hour, peak load management, and other type of management. So these are we are taking the advantage.
I'll taking cue from what you have said. I'll just quickly take a perspective from Tanuj Mittal from Dassault System. Tanuj, you just heard Mr. Kumar outlining kind of work they're doing and maybe the probable areas of collaboration. So quickly, if you can add to that, that where you can see that an organization like yours can work with discoms or the energy companies across India.
Right. Shobit, yeah. So the touch points of the technology starts from the very first point, I would say, where you start planning for the demand, maybe the next 5 years, 10 years, or 50 years. The bigger question is how much do you need? And accordingly, then you will work backward in terms of creating facilities and power generation facilities. So for estimating the demand itself properly, technology these days plays a very important role. So you have all sort of solutions which will help you gather data, crunch and analyze data to come up with a near accurate projection of how much capacity you should build in the short and the long term. Because these are all capital intensive projects. So if you are able to optimize your spend there, that itself is a great saving to start with. Then the bigger question comes once you decide how much you need, then when and where to make. And then that is where the virtual twin technology comes in when you start planning, designing, and actually constructing the facility. So this virtual twin technology, for example, from Dassault Systems side, is based on 3D Experience platform. So this gives you all the preemptive steps which you want to do before even creating the physical facility. That you can create it virtually. You can do all sort of what if analysis beforehand to decide where to optimize, what to do and what not to do, rather than making the mistakes on the field during the execution time. Facility is created. The next step is how to run it smoothly. There again, the IT and OT facilities, whatever technologies we have these days, are anyway being leveraged. And more when we move forward, we will see that the propagation of these technologies will be there to make sure that the plant is being run as planned or as near to the planning as possible. And then all aspect of producing power, transmission and distribution, everything these days, the technology touch points are there. Shavik.
Right, but I'll come back to you. Let me take a perspective from Mr. MP Singh, Director,
Please,
Punjab Energy Development Agency.
please give me permission.
Okay, I think Mr. Kumar has to leave. Thank you so much. Before you leave, I request Mr. Rajneesh to come on stage for once and hand over the souvenir to Mr. Yogesh Kumar. If you can allow, I'll just do this needful. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Yogesh, for joining us. Let me take a perspective from Mr. MP Singh, Director, Punjab Energy Development Agency. Recently, we had a good fortune of meeting him in Chandigarh a few months back and doing a similar kind of event on sustainable energy. Mr. Singh, if we talk about building a sustainable and resilient energy company, in what things you will look at? Because see, sustainable is no more a mere choice or option, it's a necessity, we all know. And sustainable energy, sustainable technology is also an important part. It's not about only using technology but using sustainable technology. So if I ask you, how do you make the marriage of this sustainable energy and sustainable technology together, what will be your take on that?
See, nowadays, We started this organization in 91, though it's a PSU. And we are basically in the field of green power, sustainable energy, and all these are the keywords since then. Now, definitely due to this massive climate change and so much of environmental issues, it has become virtually mandatory now for everybody to look at very seriously at this issue. In power generation also, if you look at the government has very serious mandates now, and we have the utility chief engineer also with us. So currently, the target which is with the government of India is by 2030 to be 500 gigawatts, has to come from the green, sustainable renewables. So basically, once we talk of sustainability, means that something which is recyclable again coming into the environment and is not creating permanent damages in the environment or in terms of pollution or emissions and all those kind of things. So what earlier we were using in energy sector was fossil fuels, most of it, either coal, nuclear, gas, or oil. So shift is happening very quick. In our state, we are currently about 23% in terms of total power requirement. So if you look at very resilient, sustainable companies, both in energy sector, the future is only if we look at now renewable sources of energy. It's very, very imperative. And if you see the growth in this sector has been massive. So for energy companies, it is very, very important now to utilize all these kind of resources, whether it is hydropower or whether it is something to do with biomass power. In the state, we are currently now replacing even CNG with compressed biogas. It's a mandate under the Satat program of Ministry of Power and Ministry of Natural Gas and Petroleum. So all these kind of efforts are going in. So if you pertinently answering your question is very, very important is that we plan ahead. We have been using technology a lot recently. We have now designed the entire renewable purchase obligation portal very recently to leverage technology, which is a multi-user interface for fulfilling all these organizations who have the obligated entities in the state for utilizing this portal for fulfilling their renewable purchase obligations. Similarly, one example I like to give you is that during COVID period, it was very, very tough for us to seek and distribute solar pumping systems to farmers. So we developed a platform for the farmers to that level so that you can use it and submit their request, register it, and even transfer subsidies online to them. So technology is playing a very big role in the energy sector today, whether it is plant management, plant operations, or even looking at energy vision. We recently launched a state energy portal also. In order to various organizations or departments can use it. It's a multi-user interface which is also linked with the government of India. So in the future, it is very, very important that every company which is working, whether it's an energy sector company or any other company, it's very important it has to be using technologies which are environment friendly, looking at a future which is sustainable in nature. So thank you so much.
So technology is playing a very important role, be it for renewable energy, non-renewable energy. But if you talk about sustainability of energy sector, again, sustainable energy and sustainable technology innovation has to play a bigger role in coming years, especially keeping the importance of keeping the environment green, clean, and everything. So that is very important. And again, the moment we talk about using sustainable technology, we're basically talking about building that comprehensive ecosystem where a lot of things can be taken care by the innovation spectrum per se. I saw Mr. Muktesh Narula, Chief Marketing Officer, Pinnacle Trade Services, listening to Mr. MP Singh quite seriously. And he was having a smiling face when Mr. MP Singh said that technology is playing an important and is going to play an important role. So, as a technology solution provider, Mr. Narula, where do you see the convergence happening in, between a technology solution provider or the discoms or the power companies or the power departments of the states? Your thought on that?
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm not really an expert on the power sector specifically, but technology, yes, is certainly helping. For example, the renewable energy that technology has probably enabled, be it solar or wind energy. So that's where the technology, of course, plays an important part. But like the gentleman from the Madhyanchal said, uh, about the consumers being able to get the bills and then pay online through the mobile. That's where my technology, my company technology comes into picture. So I would know more about that. And that's where, yes, we've also got an opportunity and we've been able to help energy
So
companies.
that's what we want to hear from you. How you're helping in terms of those kind of solutions. If you just can shed some light on that.
Yes. So we provide the communication solutions, and that's how energy companies, they send the bills or the information on any power cuts, the meter readings, all these communications. We are one of the gateway providers. That's
Right.
where our technology plays a role.
Right, right. I'll come back to you. Let's have a perspective from the PSPCL. We have with us Mr. Rashwinder Singh Rewal, Chief Engineer IT. I'll ask you a different question, sir. Is increasing demand a challenge or an opportunity? Especially if we talk about implementing IT.
It is a challenge as
Can we have?
it's a challenge as well as an opportunity. Challenge is in the way we have to generate more power. We have to generate more power and provide uninterrupted power supply to the industry and all consumers. And opportunity is in the way to produce more power. All the power utilities have to work more efficiently and more professionally.
Can share some of the work your organization is doing in the state of Punjab.
In Punjab, PSPCL was incorporated in the year 2010, and we are implementing the IT since the beginning of the inception of the corporation. We already implemented IT in 147 towns in Punjab. Punjab is a small state. There are about 200 towns. And the readings were taken up by AMR for large supply consumers, all grades, all DT meters, and for other consumers, we are installing smart meters.
And what has been the response when you were talking about that? I was going to PSPCL website yesterday. I was seeing that there are a lot of technological advancement or technological solutions or programs have been undertaken by your organization. Smart metering is also there. And I saw a section where you talked about using emerging technologies as well. So if you can just shed some light on that as well. How you're leveraging emerging technologies.
Yeah. In Punjab, we are implementing emerging technologies. Just as Punjab is the first state which implemented 1912 number for complaints. During last year, we handled 87 lakh complaints through this number, and there is no breakdown of this call center.
Right, right, right. I'll come back to, let me ask Mr. MB Singh. Mr. Singh, where do you think, because you're in the power sector for so many years, you have vast experience working in that, where do you see, what is your expectation? Generally, we ask the uh, companies that what is your expectation out of government? But I'm asking you, in which all areas you want that more collaboration can happen between government and industry, between power discoms or power companies and IT companies? Where do you see what will be your suggestion for that? And I think after that I'll come to Mr. Tanuj to have his perspective as well on this.
There's huge scope. There are certain limitations also because you're always asked to host them on the NIC servers. So sometimes it takes a lot of time to get them these kind of platforms to be hosted on the NIC service. The opportunities are immense in the energy sector for the IT transformation to take place. And for us also in the last 3 years, I think so we have been able to do a lot of work in this sector. We recently completed about our hydropower stations R&M, and we have earlier they were not having these SCADA systems. Now we have recently installed all these Siemens SCADA systems on these power plants, which are now operating. And we also have a linkage to our head office for all these 8 hydropower stations. Similarly, we are also upgrading a lot of other solar power stations also to the latest IT technology and platforms. So there is immense scope. On the side of distributing the services to the rural areas in terms of energy or maybe distributing such equipment or all this kind of services which are basically provided by the government of India or the state government. There is a huge scope to link to multi-user interface or very platform which are very user-friendly, or they can be in local language also. Because normally we look at these kind of services, they're always, if we want a user interface or a user-friendly interface, which is could be in local language, let's say Punjabi, that will make a lot of impact. So there is, I'll say, sky is the limit in the energy sector, because growth is happening. If we look at the per capita consumption in India, it is about, I think so, still far less as compared to Europe or maybe US. We have to still grow a lot, and consumptions are rising a lot. So there are many niche areas in which very specific IT companies can come in and work. And there are other areas where we require huge, large platforms on which we could have, let's say, maybe multi-user interfaces, and we could have services coming, and we could also look at the possibility of PSUs actually using these kind of services for actually extending that kind of leverage to the people in general, to the masses in general also. So there is huge scope, I'll see. Though we have implemented to some extent, but I'll still see that the technology can play a very, very large role.
Right. I'll take a perspective from Danuj. Danuj, IoT is becoming a game changer for the energy sector. We know there are a lot of companies are there, a lot of collaborations also happening. AI, IoT, cloud is already. As an industry leader, where do you see that discoms are facing a challenge, and where do you see uh, a technology solution provider can come forward and or do you have any mechanism to identify the pain points of discoms, if I may say so?
So I will highlight 2 areas. First is getting the mix right itself is a question. For India, I think more than 70% is currently thermal coal-based energy which we are producing. This amounts a lot of carbon footprint which we generate. But globally, as well as in India, you will see that more and more we are going forward. The shift is towards the green energy. The atomic-based energy currently in India is probably less than 2%, I would say. But if you see the deployment of technology there as compared to coal is entirely different. There it will be like 50-60% deployment of IT technology as compared to maybe 5 or 10 in thermal coal-based. So that leverage of technology from shift from coal-based to green is what the trend is currently. And the second trend is about the innovation which is happening in energy sector. So let me give you example of only storage. In storage, for short-term storage, you have stuff like flywheel technology is there, and then push hydro storage where you pump the water to a reservoir and then later on bring it back to regenerate the energy. For the long-term storage, you have lithium-ion batteries and the cell chemistry, the battery pack and the enclosures, everything is all technology-based. These days, these things are designed virtually first, tested virtually first, and then it is applied in the field. So that is where the technology plays a great role, and it reduces a lot of waste in the process, optimize and get us a situation which is commercially also very viable for us to do.
Right. Bhuptesh ji, maybe if I may ask you, 12 months down the line, 24 months down the line, 2 years, 3 years down the line, what kind of technology can be the game changer for the energy sector? Your thoughts on that?
So overall, technology, like, I read about uh, technology being used to, build energy efficient buildings. So that's where I believe the technology plays in a very important part.
Right, right. Or do you have any specific thing in mind that you think in specific this kind of technology will be the game changer in future for the energy sector, for the discoms or the power sector?
Yes, of course. The technology has enabled the capability to store the extra energy being produced through the alternative means, like I earlier said, solar and wind. Using those sources over the fossil fuel conventional energy sources. So that's where technology has helped a big way. Sure.
Right. I think Mr. MP Singh was also telling that future lies ahead with the renewable energy and non-conventional energy as well. I'll just end the session with taking a quick perspective from Rajvinder ji. If I may ask you that maybe 1 year down the line, or 2 year down the line, what kind of technological focus you have that you want to implement this or that? If you can just share some of those plans.
In the coming years,
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. In the coming years, PSPCL is implementing the automatic billing, just like by installing smart meters, then converting it to prepaid meters. Actually, there is a huge problem of wrong readings, wrong billings, then non-payment by consumers. So we are adopting this technology.
Right, right, right. Thank you. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. A big round of applause for all the speakers from the state of Punjab, state of Uttar Pradesh, as well as industry leaders. I request Rajnish, the consulting editor of APAC News Network, to come on stage and kindly hand over the souvenir store esteemed speakers. We can start with Mr. MP Singh, who is the director of PEDA, Punjab Energy Development Agency. A huge round of applause for him, please. To Rajvinder Singh Rewal, Chief Engineer IT, PSPCL. To Mr. Tanuj Mittal, Senior Director, Customer Process Experience, Dassault Systems India. Mr. Muktesh Narula, Chief Marketing Officer, Pinnacle Teleservices Private Limited. And we can have a group photo, please. I'll ask Rajnish to stay back to invite the speakers for the next panel discussion in the meantime. We can have a group photo, please. Yes.